We're back. Line Sniper in the Crosshairs. Joey Knish, Locky Lockerson, and now it's time for my favorite segment of the week. Rapid Fire NBA. We're going to roll it right down the rotation. Locky's going to hit you with a little bit on every game on the card. You ready to go, Lock?
I am. Some of these are going to be maybe small bets that I've made for the two main bets. Obviously, we just did a segment earlier in the show on my two best bets for tonight, and we'll kind of detail those a little bit too as we go along. So a mix of leans, some small bets that I've made, and then some games that it's just like, you can have them, I'm passing.
Beautiful. Let's go. First game in the rotation. One of the hottest teams in the league. The new small ball. Houston heading to the Knicks. What you got for me here?
It would be very easy to sit here and say one of two things: jam Houston because they're just on complete fire right now, or bet against Houston because you want to be really contrarian and everyone's on them already. I'm sure you're going to hear those two viewpoints from a lot of people, and I'm actually somewhere in between. My true number here. So again, we opened 8.5, Houston 8.5. Now we're sitting like Houston 10, and I make the game between 8 and 8.5. So I was good with the opener. The steam makes sense to me only because I'm not sure the market is truly capturing, every single game, how good Houston is since they made the upgrade stylistically. It's been a few games now and they're obviously winning, but like, what if they really are this good? What if they're actually improving as games go by? I don't have enough of an edge here that I want to come back and play the Knicks. My one kind of note here on New York is that this is a team that is prone to playing close games against good teams and losing in the last 3 minutes. They've done it at least 15 times this season. Every time they play somebody good, stay within the number, tied with 5 minutes left, 6 minutes left, lose the game, but stay within the number. I would not be surprised if the same thing happened the more this balloons, but I don't really have enough here angle-wise where I want to bet the game.
Gotcha. Okay. We'll leave it alone on that one. Let's keep it rolling. We've got Portland Blazers really struggling without Dame Dollar. Heading to O-Town into Orlando. What you got for me there?
From a rating standpoint, I think this number is actually lined pretty perfectly. So I have a really good adjustment for Lillard in where I've been very close on Portland spreads the last 2 weeks with him out. I think I'm pretty good with his value, something in the neighborhood of 5 points, which sounds crazy, but I mean, he really is that valuable, and they really have nobody to play those minutes who's any good whatsoever. And the usage goes to some pretty, bad guys that you don't want to get usage in an NBA game. With Lillard out, and again, I make the number pretty good. We're sitting 7. I make the game 6.5. There's not enough number-wise for me to make an edge here, but a lot of what I look at too is opponent splits. So when you play a certain type of team, from a quality or value standpoint, how do you perform in those games? And these games are tailor-made for Orlando. Games against what I call trash teams, which is just teams rated in the bottom third of the league when the game is played. Portland qualifies as that with Lillard out tonight. When Orlando plays these teams, and especially plays them at home, it's how they built their entire, win-loss record the entire season from a win standpoint. All the victories that they have basically come against bad teams in games at home at numbers just like this. So their profile has basically been, they exceed market expectations in games like this. So actually, despite the number kind of being quote unquote good, the style and the team profile of Orlando, I have a small bet on Orlando at -7 here.
Gotcha. Small bet on Orlando. Let's keep it rolling. Utah, the Jazz heading over to Cleveland. We've got Jazz -8.5 here, looking like it's widely available. What you got for me here?
This is the one game where I'll just say, I want no part of this. The Jazz consistently underperform as a big favorite in like every situation. I want no part of them at a big number, especially on the road. I don't think they can be trusted necessarily. Obviously, like lost by the hook the other day. I had them at home against Washington in a game they honestly really had no business covering for most of the time too, until they kind of get this starting lineup stuff figured out. Just a lot of weird stories coming out of there. I don't want them. On the other side, Cleveland is the worst home team in the league, except for Minnesota, basically, even from an against the spread standpoint. I know they're playing better under Bickerstaff, but two teams in spots and it's sort of at a current, kind of correct number where I want no part of this one. This one's a pass.
All right, the Jazz, Cavs. Let's go to Memphis. Big win over the Lake Show. Heading to Atlanta. Trae Young, Atlanta -2. What you got for me?
This is one of the weirdest numbers I've seen in a little while, and I'll kind of explain that here just a little bit. I don't know why Atlanta is favored in this game, and I don't know why they've gotten steamed necessarily. So Memphis, I mean, you mentioned the big win over the Lakers. Jaren Jackson and Brandon Clark are good players, and they've missed time, and Memphis has struggled as a result of them being out. But they've been out And that's been baked into my kind of updated ratings for Memphis. And I have a much lower rating for Memphis. And I still make this Memphis by 1, Memphis by 1.5. I know they played really well in a back-to-back at home. I think that maybe has generated some confidence in them, increased their perception in the market. Again, strong recent play, which is always really dangerous to make bets off of, kind of like riding the hot team. In the NBA, that's frequently a disaster to kind of go with. So again, a small bet for me on Memphis here. I have trouble identifying why the steam is happening. I like to be able to explain why that's happening normally to be able to make a bet. But at 2.5, I really have no choice here. I'm far enough away. A small bet Memphis plus 2.5.
I like it. Next one, you already gave us the best bet, Los Heat. And so we're going to skip right over it and keep it rolling on the rotation. Dallas, the Mavs. Doncic likely back tonight, as far as I know. Heading to Chicago. What you got for me? Looking like Dallas as a -4 road favorite here.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game with Dallas and Chicago. Normally, I would be inclined to play the Mavs in this spot 10 times out of 10. Amazing road team, amazing against bad NBA opponents, trash teams, if you will, bottom 10 in the league. Chicago splits, on the other hand, atrocious at home versus market expectation, atrocious versus elite opponent. I mean, it's the ultimate setup. The problem here is Dallas kind of maybe eating a schedule loss. So Doncic listed questionable. Really not exactly sure what they're going to do on the second night of a back-to-back here. Porzingis is already listed doubtful. This might be kind of like a let's pack it in. We'll roll the second team out there for more minutes. Now, granted, the second team and the way Dallas plays on the road, that could be good enough to cover this number against the Bulls. That's how bad the Bulls are in this situation and how good the Mavs are. But again, like the way the schedule sets up, I feel like I can just wait for better spots to play teams like Dallas and to play teams, play against teams like Chicago. So at the number and with the injury stuff and the rest and just kind of what I'm reading about the game, I think that makes this a pass for me, unfortunately.
Gotcha. All right, we're passing there. And you've already given us one of the best bets, Spurs +2. So now we're going to get you with the bank, baby. When we come back, the $500 Locky Bank, baby. He's going to tell us how he's slicing up his 500, what he's putting it on tonight. We'll be right back. Line Sniper in the Crosshairs, Knish and Locky.